This module provides PA employers with essential strategies for effectively managing administrative tasks and ensuring data security. It offers recommendations for software and apps designed to streamline daily tasks and enhance team coordination. You'll learn effective methods for digitally organising and storing important documents, ensuring easy access and retrieval. Additionally, the module will cover best practices for converting paper documents into digital formats, highlighting how this transition can improve overall administrative management. You will also gain valuable insights from experienced PA employers on the most effective tools for managing teams and handling your administrative responsibilities. Managing payroll and wages for PAs is a key responsibility for employers, and there are several ways to approach it, depending on your preferences. You can choose to fully outsource the payroll process to a third party, manage it yourself, or opt for a hybrid solution. This module will help you navigate these aspects of PA administration more effectively.
I use a company called Compass to do my payroll, and I've tried other companies, but I find them really good actually. The reason being for me is I like the knowledge that the figures for things like salary, deductions for tax, pensions, that's all done properly. That's really important to me. However, I process all the payments myself, so I retain control of the bank account. So it's not a managed account. So I still will pay my PA's wages, pay the pension into Nest, pay HMRC, diarise that in my diary, and that gives me control over the finances. So I don't relinquish that, but I do get support with making sure that those figures are right.
I don't manage my own payroll. I use a standard accountant. So I don't use any of the services that are recommended by the social services or the CHC because the providers they use are generally inflexible and the amount they charge versus what an accountant charges is not actually that much different. And one of the reasons I've purposely chosen an accountant is I found with certain providers that they have this 4-week cycle, and I actually pay my carers for a month, not 4 weeks. I pay them for the full calendar month, and they were asking me to also predict hours in this 4-week period before the end of the 4-week period. I was like, but then if that person calls in sick, I've then got the aggro that I've got to work out that they didn't get that shift and I've got to try and take it back off them. Or actually, what if I'm late getting home somewhere? So they end up working longer. They're not going to get that. So I choose to pay my team on the 7th of every month, which means I've got enough time from when the month ends to submit their hours to an accountant, who then turns that around and sends me preview to confirm that I'm happy with the pay slips and it's all worked out correctly, and then I approve it, and then they send the pay slips to my employees digitally through a Sage application, and then I just log into my internet banking and I pay my staff from my funds. So yeah, the benefits for me are it's really easy. I just send them an Excel table and they with like the totals and they work it all out, do it all for me, tell me what tax I've got to pay, tell me what I've got to pay each person, and they send me all the paperwork digitally, which I can just drop into my Dropbox. So it's all really easy. And none of this predicted of hours, it's real time. So it's what the person has worked and what they've earned.
Becoming a PA employer can feel overwhelming, especially when it comes to managing payroll. It's crucial to set up a system that works smoothly for both you and your PAs from the start. Whether you choose to manage it yourself or work with a third-party provider, establishing a clear and efficient process early on will save you time and reduce stress. Sarah Reddy and Sam Cornelius Light, experienced PA employers, share their tips on how to navigate this aspect of PA management effectively, offering insights that can help you to make informed decisions and manage payroll with confidence?
I've been an employer for about 20 years now, and I would say the best thing I ever did was go digital. So I always joke we've got a paperless office in my house. Even anything that comes in through the post for my PAs that's a paper form, I'll scan it and save it on my G Drive. I find that keeping everything in spreadsheets, PDFs, saved on my Google Drive means that I've got everything at my fingertips. And I don't feel, because I physically can't manage bundles of paper anyway. I certainly don't have the space for it. It just means that everything's organized and at my fingertips. And it means that I don't have to rely on anyone to root for something that might be confidential. I can find it myself.
I would say on this topic, I would say that it can be quite daunting when you first become a PA employer, but there are lots of tools out there which can help you with managing these files, and also having an external payroll provider, I would say, is really beneficial. Just I think for people's sort of sake, really, because otherwise you don't really want to be sort of doing all the complexities of doing your own payroll. So I would definitely, if you can, use an external payroll provider. That just takes off that extra bit of hassle that can come with being a PA employer.
How you organise your admin and PAs is critical to building a successful team. Having effective strategies in place, especially for managing the physical aspect of administration, is vital for those with complex needs. Finding ways to reduce the physical and mental strain of managing a team of PAs can be challenging, but this is where the right tools, apps, and software can make a big difference.
Yeah, so I use a whole range of tools to support my PA arrangement and help them in terms of like tasks and files. So one of the things I've done in the last few years has gone completely digital. So I don't want paper anywhere because I can't access paper. I can't write a note. So what I've done is, and not everyone can do this. I have an iPad that is just purely dedicated to the PA team. It sits on a stand in the kitchen, and every week I write a note for the week ahead with kind of like what's happening on what days and any pertinent information. So have I got a hospital appointment? Are we traveling somewhere? Is there something I need doing on a specific day? I use a bunch of standard apps, to be honest. So I have an app called Toady, which is a kind of, I guess, it's based on like household chores. So I just list all the things that have to be done each week, including all my medication, and also when we do exercise. And each person's got their own like sort of profile on that app. So when they've done something, they can tick it off. But the profiles all linked to the overall task list, so they can see when they come in on shift what somebody else has already done and what they need to do. I have another app called AnyList, which records all of my meal plans and all of my recipes. So when I'm asking somebody to cook, they've got a really clear recipe in front of them. They don't need to get a book and worry about getting it all dirty and sticky hands. They've got the iPad that they can do. And again, that helps with like things like the shopping list. So today's Friday, so I've done my meal plan for next week, and then I'll go through the meal plan, click on all the ingredients that I need, and then I get one of my PAs to go through the kitchen and check the things that we've already got and the things we haven't got. That leaves me with a list of things I need to do on my delivery for my food shop. I also use another application called RotaCloud, which allows me to basically schedule their hours. And we try and schedule it 3 months in advance so that people know what they're working. But there is an agreement that there's got to be an element of flexibility as life changes. That RotaCloud allows me to basically set rota. It loads it into my calendar. They can subscribe to their shifts on their calendar. They can subscribe to the annual leave calendar. It kind of sends them a reminder telling them that they've got a shift this week, what shifts they've got. and they can swap shifts between them if they need to. And it also does things like tells me like reminder of when somebody has completed like another year of service.
10 years ago, I was still using paper really for managing my teams, and it would be an A3 chart on the wall that was for the whole week, and it was to make sure that the plant didn't get watered 10 times and nobody took out the bin at all. But things have moved on since then, and I'm very pleased to say everyone's embraced the technology suggestions that we put in. So we use an app called Todoist. I pay for that privately. I think it's just a few quid a month, but it's really worth every penny to me. And it's like a digital to-do list that you can access off your phone, or there's also a browser version. And it just means that I can add things to it that I think of during the day without having to communicate, but also my PAs can add things. So it might be someone needs to collect Sarah's prescription on Thursday. So they pop it down as a job for Thursday PA. And then the Wednesday PA might find out, oh, actually, it's not coming till Saturday. And then they'll move the task to Saturday. So it just keeps things in real time. And the other thing that I rely on heavily is Trello. There are lots of project management tools that people use. I use Trello for loads of things. But one of the things I find it really helpful is I can make checklists in a template format for things that happen regularly, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I've got a Google account. Well, I've got several actually, and it means that I can store everything on the cloud. And that includes everything to do with payroll, all their training documents, all the guidance documents, everything. And I use PowerPoints a lot for guidance documents too. So that can include videos of things. So it doesn't mean I have to go over things and 7 times. Sometimes it might be a quick refresher needed, and I'll start with watching a video that we've already filmed once. And that might be all that's needed, and I don't need to sacrifice any time for retraining. If it's not, that's fine. But these little things just mean that I don't have to keep repeating myself, and doesn't lead to fatigue as well. So making use of all of those tools is really helpful.
Ross Hovey and Sam Cornelius Light offer some valuable insights on managing paperwork and tasks while maintaining a person-centered approach with their team of PAs. Here are some of their top recommendations for successfully managing these tasks while fostering a supportive and person-centered environment.
So in terms of managing my PAs, one of the my biggest tips is that everybody's different, and it'll be really hard to find something that everybody's happy with. And to a certain element, whilst you've got to take on people's needs, you've got to be happy that the system works for you, not the other way around. And actually, if the system doesn't work for somebody, then maybe this isn't the job for them. As harsh as that may sound, this is all about personal centered care and about what you need and what works for you. So it took me a while to get there, but you've got to kind of ignore the noise, take on the feedback, find maybe the odd compromise, but actually keep on with what it is that you want to do. I think having lists is really good. Having something that everybody is linked to, so you don't get duplication or confusion. The other tip that I've got is I have got a WhatsApp group that is just me and my PAs that, again, we can send important messages to, that we can talk about shift swaps openly in. But again, I set the boundaries that it's not a WhatsApp group for sending like memes and like jokes and stuff. It is purely about work. There is a bit of niceties in there because we're human beings and we want it to be. And there's the odd bit of banter from me, but it's not something that people want pinging all the time when they're not at work. So the other tip I've tried to do is when people are on holiday, is if I don't need to communicate in that WhatsApp group because they're not around, is to maybe use a broadcast message and send it just to the people that are on shift during the holiday. I tried to give people, time off, like away from the job when they're away, and break down that communication. Another kind of tip that in terms of me managing my team of PAs, I always once a week at the end of the week, thank them all for a good week, highlighted anything that's gone particularly well.
I would say, in terms of useful tips for managing my team of PAs, I would say it's sort of similar to a tip that I gave earlier. It's been really organized. I think that's a really key thing to do. As if you sort of leave things to the last minute, that way it can get quite confusing and people can get quite muddled. So I would say always sort of keep on top of the PA admin. So sort of don't leave it to the last minute. I'd also always, as that can really help you sort of manage the team of PAs and sort of if they have a query, you can quickly answer it for them to keep the team quite happy. So I would say being proficient and also efficient are really good.
Data security is essential for both PAs and their employers, particularly when dealing with sensitive information. For individuals with complex needs who may require assistance with handling paperwork, maintaining confidentiality can be a challenge. Employers must be aware of their responsibilities in protecting their PA's personal information. Transitioning to a digital format can be an effective way to manage and safeguard confidential data. Sarah Rennie and Ross Hovey share their proactive strategies for data security, providing valuable insights into how they ensure confidentiality while effectively managing sensitive information.
Yeah, this is really important. So I've actually got 2 Google accounts, one that my PAs can access and one that only I can access, that are both directly to do with care funding and employment. So the one that my PAs can access is more to do with their training documents, things that they'll find. And then the other one is more of a personal nature. So it might include things like a PA's maternity risk assessment, something that is confidential. And then from a GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation perspective, firstly, that Google Drive has an email address. So I use the email addresses for different things really carefully. So if it's to do with my care, then I'll use my care email address. And that would be the one that if I have to email my PAs about anything, as well as funding. And so it means then that their personal data, like copy of their contract or whatever it is, doesn't get just mixed up in my inbox with HelloFresh emails and personal stuff. So I think that's really important to keep control. And the second thing I do from a data protection point of view is when I am required, I suppose, to share just a whole list of things like contracts, copies of pay slips, salaries, addresses from an audit point of view, whether that's the council or the integrated care board, I just say no by email. Simple as that. No, I've got an employer's responsibility to adhere to data protection law, and I'm not sharing stuff like that by email. And I always say you're very welcome to come to my house and look at the stuff, and take records, copies, whatever you want, but you're not getting it by email. And no one's ever questioned it, actually. I think they can't argue with it because it's bad practice.
In terms of securing my PA's digitally stored information, it's in Dropbox, it's on password protected files, it's on a laptop that needs my fingerprint or my password to go in. And yeah, that's pretty much as simply as it gets.
In this module, we've explored several key aspects of effectively managing a team of PAs, highlighting the essential elements that contribute to both operational efficiency and person-centered care. Here's a summary of the topics covered. Managing payroll, clear documentation, managing daily tasks, task management tools, regular communication, data security, secure storage solutions, technology integration, digital tools and apps, person-centered care. By integrating these strategies, PA employers can create a supportive and efficient framework that not only addresses the practicalities of managing a team of PAs, but also ensures that their care remains the main focus.